All right, well, we're here to preview the 2019-2020 P&G Broadway series at Walton Arts Center. There are 7 shows that you can look forward to this season. 5 of those shows are having their first national tour direct from Broadway. There's one returning favorite, there's one show making its Arkansas debut, and of course, Walton Arts Center is bringing the best of Broadway directly to Northwest Arkansas. Listen to this. These shows have garnered 55 Tony nominations and earned a combined 23 Tony Awards. The shows are going to take you all around the world too, from India to England, Africa to Israel. In addition, we're bringing back 2 Northwest Arkansas favorites, but more on those later. Well, who doesn't want to go to an island? I know I do, no matter what time of year. Let me tell you a little bit about the play Once on This Island. It's a Tony winner for Best Musical Revival back in 2018. And we get it on its first national tour right here at Walton Arts Center. It's an adaptation of a popular fairy tale told in a unique Caribbean style. This musical is set on a hurricane-ravaged island in the French Antilles. The universal tale follows a fearless peasant girl in search of her place in the world, ready to risk it all for love. I would do the same thing. This young girl, she is guided by the mighty island gods as she sets out on a remarkable journey to reunite with the man who has captured her heart.
There is an island where rivers run deep.
From the beginning of time, we've been gathering around a fire in a circle to tell each other stories. And that's what we're doing every night. Once on This Island is a joyful, life-affirming musical. It's about a young girl who is an orphan and is adopted by 2 peasants.
And she is ruled by the gods of the island.
And she dreams of a life bigger than her own.
Oh gods, are you there?
I realized that Michael Arden is an actual genius.
Michael's the man.
The first thing the audience experiences when they come in is just the overwhelming visual world.
You're not entering a traditional theater space. You're part of that village.
Now it's a perfectly told story about our contemporary world, the world of cultural and religious divisions and communities and how they are separated and how they come back together again.
The big idea for the design was, how do you make something divine from the discarded?
I think it's actually been really important with this design that we have real things, which is real water, real flame, real sand, but it's also like, that's a real truck.
If you listen very hard, you'll hear her call out.
To come share with her our laughter and our tears.
And as mysteries and miracles befall us through the years, we tell the story.
The more obstacles we can remove between the story and the audience, the better.
And to hear them sniffle during emotional parts or smile or laugh, that's one thing you can feel as an actor. You can feel walls start to break down.
You are part.
It's intimate, it's romantic.
You are part.
People are dissolved in tears.
It inspires me every single day.
You feel it. It's beautiful.
It's like no other Broadway show.
Oh gods, let me fly.
Our oldest instinct is to gather in a circle, and that's what we get to do every night. If you put a bunch of people together, they'll eventually make a circle. That's the magic.
Waiting for life to begin. Waiting for life once more to begin.
Let's talk about the play that goes wrong. Co-written by 3 friends from London's Mischief Theatre Company, it's also a Tony and Drama Desk award-winning play. Now, it debuted on Broadway in 2017, and it currently holds the record for the longest-running play in Broadway history. The story? Well, it follows the Cornell University Drama Society as they attempt to put on a 1920s-style murder mystery. Then, the play goes wrong. Well, very wrong. Do you have an extra kneecap? I am thrilled to be able to tell you about The Band's Visit. Now, this was the winner of the 2018 Tony Award for Best Musical, and it also won an additional 9 Tony Awards. And it's another show that Walton Arts Center is getting on its first national tour. It's based on a 2007 film by the same name. Here's what happens. An Egyptian police band is on their way to play at an Israeli music festival. Due to a language barrier, however, they arrive in the wrong place, a remote village in the middle of the Israeli desert. With no bus until the morning and no hotel in sight, these unlikely travelers are taken in by the locals. Now, although this show takes place thousands of miles from right here, it has that good old southern hospitality that we're also accustomed to. Under the spell of the desert sky, and despite language and cultural differences, the lives of the villagers and musicians become intertwined, all through their shared love, of course, of music. This seemingly simple show powerfully and elegantly celebrates the deeply human ways in which music, longing, and laughter connect us all. I'm so proud that Walton Arts Center is bringing you The Band's Visit.
When you're looking at the story of The Band's Visit, it is beautiful and ordinary. It's entirely about love relationships.
You have beautiful eyes.
Every love story you've ever been involved in your entire life, aspects of it broken into a million pieces. It's deceptively simple.
You know what, General? You can stay here with us tonight if you want.
No, no. You have done too much already.
Okay.
I really don't think our show subscribes to many rules, except for the rules that we've created within our own piece. We don't have an 11 o'clock number. We don't have a big dance number about telephones. And that was always the impulse. It was never about trying to accommodate what the needs were of a musical. It was to accommodate the needs of the characters and where are the musical opportunities.
There's something blessed about this story, about the very simple fact that an orchestra comes into simple people's life. If in our own daily life suddenly an orchestra came in and played tune to us washing the dishes, play a tunes for us, you know, having a fight with the wife, play a tune for us. Just if we had an orchestra for all the little things in life. That's the trick of this show. There's not a lot of stuff happening. Things are very, very simple. The conversation is simple. It's not like, but still the music takes every moment and say it's important. This is also important. That's the connection with the beginning where you say it wasn't that important, but what the show stands is against it. Is that that's the most important things. Those small things are the most important things. This is what your life consists of.
The idea of this all taking place in sort of a day in the life of, or one night in a town like this, it's like that idea of time passing became really, really important. So much of it takes place during the dark.
Omar Sharif is a beautiful song that Katrina sings, and she sings it to Tufik, and then she goes on to talk about how when she was a child, they would play Arab music and they would play Arab movies, Egyptian movies, and it's something that she doesn't talk about. She doesn't have an outlet to talk about these things that she feels very passionately about, and now this stranger has walked into her town, and it's the perfect outlet for her to communicate these things that she very rarely gets to talk about in this town in the middle of nowhere. And when you're able to talk about something that you feel something so inside of you that is stifled for so long, it feels like it pours out.
Is this a hymn? Is this a love song?
That theme of how music connects people and wakes them up and makes them feel a joy that then they can share with another person. We're witnessing that constantly.
He was cool to the marrow, the pharaoh of romance.
I feel this musical is like a very gentle whisper, but so much within happens. And I think this whisper kind of just washes over you, and you're changed by it.
The world around
It's about the underlying ocean that connects everybody and everything. To me, the most potent metaphor for that is music.
Once, not long ago, a group of musicians came to Israel from Egypt. You probably didn't hear about it. It wasn't very important.
If your family is anything like mine, there are those certain phrases that when uttered, they evoke all kinds of memories. And for us, one of those phrases is the word fragile. That's right. We're talking about A Christmas Story, the musical. From Benji Pasek and Justin Paul, the songwriting team behind the Academy Award-winning film La La Land and the smash hit Tony Award-winning musical Dear Emmett Hansen, comes the next musical on our Broadway season. The show takes us to the American heartland and chronicles a young boy as he schemes his way towards the holiday gift of his dreams, a Daisy Red Ryder BB gun, an infamous leg lamp, outrageous pink bunny pajamas, a maniacal department store Santa, and a triple dog dare to lick a freezing flagpole are just few of the distractions that stand between young Ralphie Parker and his Christmas wish in A Christmas Story the musical. To quote the New York Times, you'd have to have a Grinch-sized heart to not feel a smile spread across your face after you see A Christmas Story.
I think particularly with A Christmas Story, because it's based on a movie that everybody is sort of familiar with and that they've grown up with or that they've watched with their family.
Yeah, if you have the TV on at Christmas time, you can't not
really
see
miss it.
Right.
The stage show is a more enhanced version of what you know from the film. So many of the moments that you might know, we're able to expand them in fun ways that can only exist on a stage and can only exist in the theater.
The great thing about Christmas Story is that it really could be about any holiday. It's about any time that your family gets together and things are a little bit nuts and chaotic and there's like extra pressure because your family's all in town. Even though it's about Christmas technically, I think that anyone who celebrates any holiday can come and enjoy themselves at the show because it's really about family dynamics and not getting along with your brother or your dad or your sister and yet loving them and wanting to be with them. It's a wonderful experience.
I read about a car bomb. I read a car bomb. Stuck with a compass. With a compass in the stock. Read about a car mine. Baby.
The show is set post the Depression era, so it's in the 1940s, and the movie came out in the 80s, and then people are watching it today. It's really wonderful to see families come in and have grandparents, great-grandparents, kids all getting to watch the same story that is wholesome but a little bit subversive.
I hate to spoil the fun with you'll shoot your eye out. But I'll start kissing that gun goodbye. Well, shoot, it's cute that you desire it. But the moment that you fire it, you'll shoot your eye.
It really appeals to a really, really wide demographic, but you get to enjoy it as a family, which is something really, really rare. And getting to sit physically in a theater and getting to go through an emotional experience and getting to see a story play out that sort of reminds you of the dysfunction of your own family is a really, really wonderful bonding experience.
There's probably no more connective activity for a family, I think, than to get to go, especially around the holidays, to go and sit in a dark theater and experience something and be able to have a real-time conversation about it at the act break or after the show is over. Those kinds of live experiences are becoming fewer and more far between.
Not a second can we spare, 'cause it all comes down to Christmas.
It's really exciting for us to get to share this show that we spent many years trying to work on and that eventually came to Broadway, and that it gets to travel to theaters around the country, and we get to share that experience with everyone. We're really excited that the show is going back out again this year.
To Christmas Day.
Have you ever blown out a flip-flop? I know I have. If your story is like mine, well, you need to get ready for a hilarious, heartwarming, and get away from it all musical with the most unforgettable songs from one of music's greatest storytellers. Our next title, it's an upbeat and energetic brand new show that will make sure to knock your flip-flops right off. Of course, I'm talking about Escape to Margaritaville. It's a brand new show that features all your favorite Jimmy Buffett classics like Volcano, Cheeseburger in Paradise, and many more. It also features some great new songs. And if you're a person who's like, yeah, but I don't really like musicals, then this is the musical for you. Parrot heads all agree this is the one you need to come see. Hey, let's waste away together in Margaritaville.
Hello Fayetteville, Jimmy Buffett here. Well, I am happy to bring Escape to Margaritaville, our Broadway hit musical, to the Fayetteville Walton Arts Center. A few changes in latitudes, a few changes in attitudes, and maybe a margarita. We're going to have a great time. Fins up. See you, Fayetteville.
Well, we're here in one of the dressing rooms at Walton Arts Center, and for good reason, because we're going to talk about a show that is beautiful on multiple levels. Costumes, scenery, story. Of course, I'm talking about Anastasia. This is the second show in the season, actually, that is written by Lynn Ahrens and Stephen Flattery. They also wrote Once on This Island. From the Tony Award-winning creators of the Broadway classic Ragtime and inspired by two beloved films, the story is that of a brave young woman who sets out to discover the mystery of her past. Pursued by a ruthless Soviet officer determined to silence her, she enlists the aid of a dashing con man and a lovable aristocrat. Together, they embark on an epic adventure to help her find home, love, and family. This is Anastasia.
The Greek origin of the name Anastasia means resurrection, which is very appropriate for the story we're telling. I think about it as a contemporary romance.
It's a great mystery. It's a thriller. It's about very essential connections of family and who we are and our heritage and our very DNA.
I think the thing that is kind of beautiful is even though this story is a fictitious story, it is a true real-life rumor that really happened in Russia. People hear about this family that was infamous, and there's this hope that one of them survived.
It has at its core this search for self, and that's such a contemporary story, and I think that's why the fairy tale, if you want to call it that, has lasted all these years.
Every show, I'm researching something, so it's looking at art history or reading the literature of the era. The story we're telling is strictly from Anastasia's point of view, so we're looking at that history from the lens of a daughter who lost her family, the way Anastasia remembers them.
We loved writing the original film version and going back to the story.
We took the songs we loved, we moved them to the side, and then we began to write this as an original musical.
Stage is a wonderful way to appeal to people's imaginations and fantasy.
Nothing takes more time than developing, directing, nurturing a musical premiere. But at the end of the day, hopefully, it's really beautiful and it reaches many, many people.
Act one begins the end of an old regime, and then that society transitions into a very oppressive society, modern Soviet society. And then in the second act, they go to Paris, early 1920s, the arts, liberalism was exploding, and I thought that would make a wonderful pair of bookends to tell her story.
For Russia, it's not so much the glamour times, it's communist Russia, so it's more neutral colors and desaturated colors.
We began listening to a lot of Russian music for Act One, a lot of Tchaikovsky, Prokofiev.
The challenge and the beauty of writing for the stage is writing songs that tell the story.
It was important to me that the royal family was sort of this beautiful
crystallized, almost ghostly presence. Historically, Zarina, the ball gowns that she wore were covered in real diamonds. It would have been worth millions.
Act 2 is set in Paris during the Jazz Age, so we get to go crazy because we're going into this completely new and very modern Jazz Age world.
The visual palette of Paris in the 1920s is extraordinary in every way, especially as far as costuming and the representation of the human body.
It was important to me that everything was a springtime palette. Everything is lightweight. We see skin, we see arms, we see bodies underneath.
With the LED screens, which we embedded not only on the back wall, but in the side turntables, it really gives a vast variety of looks. This show couldn't have happened 2 years ago. The technology's finally caught up to where we can really manipulate it and integrate it.
We have a lot of surprises up our sleeves.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can do this while balancing this bottle on my head, because it's time to talk about Fiddler on the Roof. That's right, Fiddler on the Roof premiered on Broadway in 1964. It went on to win 9 Tony Awards that year, including Best Musical, and went on to become the first musical in Broadway history to surpass 3,000 performances. You might say it was the original mega musical. The Tony-nominated revival upon which this tour is based proudly introduces a new generation of theater fans to the iconic musical that is beloved across the globe. Almost lost it. It's the heartwarming story of a man striving to preserve his religious and cultural traditions amid a rapidly changing world at the turn of the 20th century. You can tell from the video that this production has a refreshed sensibility to it. To some degree, that's because of the show's director, Tony Award winner Bartlett Shear. And further, this production was choreographed by the acclaimed Israeli choreographer, Hofish Schechter. His work is inspired by the great Jerome Robbins, but is original to this production. Gotcha.
Every production that we've had, I've tried to involve myself as much as possible to make sure that it's being done the way I want it. Sholem Aleichem created such an extraordinary human being in the character of Tevye.
All day long,
And as a writer, trying to match what Sholem Aleichem did, trying to bring whatever is best in my own talent to that character. Jerry Bach and Joe Stein and I think we did a good job. If Sholem Aleichem were alive, I think he would appreciate what we've done.
I'd build a big tall house with rooms by the dozen right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof with real wooden floors below. There would be one long staircase just going up and one even longer coming down. One more meeting, no.
Almost every time I've seen Fiddler, I've seen things that I've never seen before. A creative actor brings so much to it. And I will watch and think, oh, what a wonderful invention. You know, I'll try and remember that to tell the next Tevye, hey, in the last one he did this, why don't you try that? Probably the most rewarding experience we've had has been watching audiences enjoy the show. It's important to take any show on the road because people who love theater, the country is filled, presumably, hopefully, with people who love theater, but they can't all come to New York. So it's very important that we export that fine theater around the country so people all over the country can see fine theater. I'm from Chicago. I was introduced to theater there and fell in love with it. I would hope that whatever productions go out are done as well as possible so that when people go to the theater, they will see the best and they will want to see more.
Tradition. Without our traditions, our lives would be as shaky as a fiddler on the roof.
So there are 7 shows on the 2019-2020 P&G Broadway series right here at Walton Arts Center. But what's more, subscribers have the opportunity to add on 2 additional shows. So let's talk about what they are. The first one that I am so thrilled we're having again, Blue Man Group. That's right, they were last year in 2016. This show we'll see in September of 2019. It's gonna be a brand new show. What's more, the company is gonna create the show here, meaning they're packing up and they're coming right here to Fayetteville, Arkansas. They're gonna be living and rehearsing in Fayetteville for a month before eventually opening their tour right here in Baumwalker Hall. Blue Man Group's new show hasn't been created yet, so we don't have any video to show you. However, based on conversations with producers, we can tell you that the new show, it's gonna last about 90 minutes, and it's very family friendly and completely reconceived with all new material. Now, who knows? They might even know how to use this fly system. Now, the second show you can add on is coming at the beginning of next season. That's right, The Book of Mormon is back. Last year in 2016 and sold out to the rafters. In fact, we started planning for its return even before it left town. That's how popular it was. It opened on Broadway in 2011 and dominated the Tony Awards that year, winning an astonishing 9 awards. The critics simply couldn't find enough good things to say about it. Things like the best musical of this century and the funniest musical of all time. What an amazing season there is for you at Walton Arts Center 2019-2020 P&G Broadway series. Hope you enjoyed learning more about all of the shows coming here to Walton Arts Center, and you're probably asking yourself, man, how do I get tickets to see those shows? Well, here's the deal. There is a full Broadway season subscription on sale now. This is all 7 shows. They're the best seats in the house, and you get to keep those seats for all 7 shows. Another option is the Broadway Sampler subscription. You get to pick 3 to 6 shows. There's great seats, there's discount tickets, and there's flexible scheduling. Plus, guess what? Single tickets, they're on sale right now. All you need to do is visit waltonartscenter.org or give them a call at 479-443-5600. Get your tickets now. We'll see you at the show. I'm gonna exit, stage left.